The first question we're going to look at is this question that is saying that there is a midpoint for a segment BA, and the midpoint is at the origin. If B is in quadrant 1, we want to know what quadrant A is going to be at. So because it's talking about quadrants and origins, that means the first thing we need to do is recognize that we're looking at a coordinate plane, and in that coordinate plane, we then need to try to remember how to label it based on quadrants. Quadrant 1 is where you start counting it. And when it comes to trying to remember which of these quadrants is quadrant 1, where you start counting, easiest place to remember is you start where everything is positive. If we go over here and we go to the right, we're positive in the x. If we go up, we're positive in the y. That means where both statements are happening, that is quadrant 1. From there, the next question is, okay, well, do we go to the side to get quadrant 2, or do we go down to get quadrant 2? And a way to try to remember it is that when your movement is walking negative, but you're still going up positive, that is where quadrant 2 is going to lie. You're still ending with positivity. So quadrant 2 is going to be over here. The other way to remember it is just you go counterclockwise. You go backwards based on what a clock would normally do. And then from there we have quadrant 3 and then quadrant 4. So our midpoint is in the origin, and the origin is where your quadrants are all coming together. And point B is in quadrant 1. And it doesn't matter where, so we're just going to put it here so that we're not blocking the 1 itself. So point B is in quadrant 1. So if we think for a second what a midpoint means, a midpoint is the middle point. It's in the middle of the line. That means to get from B to the midpoint, you've only gone halfway. Which means in that same direction, you have to continue extending to reach the point of A. And if we continue extending, that pushes us into quadrant 3 for our answer. So for this question, we are finding the midpoint given 2 points. So these 2 points are creating the line of GF, the segment GF, and we want to find the midpoint for this segment. So the midpoint formula is our x1 plus x2 points, or numbers, divided by 2. That makes up our x coordinate. And then y1 plus y2 numbers over 2, and that creates our y part of the coordinate. So x1 means you look at your first coordinate that's given. So that's -4. And then x2 plus -12, and again, notice how in a previous video I did the same thing. Notice how I'm doing plus negative. That is fine, because the point I'm trying to get across to those watching, and also maybe if I'm working this on my own and I'm trying to remember the formula, I'm representing with that plus sign that I'm combining these two numbers together. Is it technically subtraction? Yes. Does it matter? No, because I'm showing that it's -4 and -12 combining together. And so that's why I'm writing it plus -12, which is fine if you're working out these problems. And that goes over 2. And then y1 is -8 plus y2 -6 over 2. And now we just keep on simplifying. So -4 and -12 together, that's what that plus sign means, is -16 over 2. -8 and -6 together is -14 over 2. And then we simplify. -16 over 2 is -8, and -14 over 2 is -7. And this is the midpoint of our coordinates. And a quick visual check to make sure your numbers actually make sense is the midpoint should be in the middle of your coordinates, which means that the x value that you get, -8 in this case, should be between -4 and -12. The y value, -7 in this case, should again be between -8 and -6. The number should be in the middle. So if you're getting these wild numbers way off in left field, that's when you need to go back and look to see if you've done something wrong. Now for a question like this is where people sometimes get confused on how to answer it. So we're told that the midpoint of CB, so my line is CB, is M, standing for midpoint, 3, 8. If the coordinates of C is -7, -3, what is the coordinate of B? There's no diagram, but we know we're dealing with a line segment because this says CB, and we know we're dealing with a midpoint on that line segment. So the easiest thing to do is just simply draw out a line segment, call it CB, and throw the midpoint in the middle. And we know that C is at -7, -3. And so this again is where we have to pause for a moment. Just think about what a midpoint is. A midpoint is the middle of the line. Whatever you do to get to the midpoint, you've done to get to the middle. So then if you do that process again, it gets you to the end. So if I look at my x values, -7 to 3. How do I go from -7 to +3? Well, I have to first add 7 to get to 0 and add 3 again to get to 3. So in total, I'm adding 10. And that gets me to the middle of the line. Well, if I want to continue all the way to where B is, I have to add 10 again to that 3. And so 3 plus 10 gives me 13. And then I look at the y values. Well, how do I go from -3 to 8? I add 3 to get to 0. I add 8 again to get to 8. So in total, I've added 11. And so then I take that process, because it only got me to the middle, and I do it again to get to the end. So 8 plus 11 is going to be 19. So my coordinate for B is at 13, 19. So you look where you start, you look at what gets you to the middle, the midpoint, and then you just continue that process again. Draw your diagram. It doesn't have to be accurate or perfect or anything. It just has to convey the information so that you can work with the information. This is a tougher version of the midpoint problems because it makes you think, it forces you to think in 3 different ways. We're told we have a point G at -6, -8, a point H at -8, -16, and a point J that is unknown. We're told that they're collinear, which if we think back, again, remembers, it means that they're all on a line together, and one of the points is a midpoint. So it doesn't say which one, it just says one of them. That means all 3 points have a chance to be the midpoint. And the question wants to know, what are the possible points for J? So the reason that there's 3 possible points for J is because depending on which of your 3 points is the midpoint changes the location of J. So let's start simple. If we make a line and we say that G and H are the endpoints of the line. So -6, -8, -8, 16, -16. So if G and H are the endpoints of the line, then that means that J must be the midpoint. And so then J's location is found by just doing the midpoint formula. Your x values added together, so -6 plus -8 over 2, and your y values added together, -8 plus -16 over 2. And then we simplify, giving us -6 plus -8, which is -14, divided by 2 is -7, and then -18 plus -16, which is -34, divide that by 2, and you get -17. And so my first possible value for J is at -7, -17. So then we shift perspective. Okay, well maybe J is not the midpoint. Maybe I start at G, -6, -8, and I go to J, and that makes H, -8, -16, the midpoint that I'm working from. Well then if this is the case, if J is my endpoint but it's unknown, and H is my midpoint and it is known, then I answer this the same way I answered the last problem. How do I go from -6 to -8? Well, I subtract 2. So then to go to J, I subtract 2 again. And so -8 minus 2 is -10. And then I ask, how do I go from 8 to -16? I subtract 24. And because that takes me to the middle, I do that again. And so negative 16 minus 24 is negative 40. And so now I have the second possible point for J. Negative 10, negative 40. And so my third possible point is instead of starting at G, I start at H. So negative 8, negative 16. And I go to J, which again is unknown, which means that now G is the midpoint that I'm working with at negative 6, negative 8. And so same questions. How do you go from negative 8 to negative 6? You add 2. So then because that's the middle, you do it again. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And how do you go from negative 16 to negative 8? You add 8, and so to get to J, we cram it in here on the side, you're going to have to add 8 again. So negative 8 plus 8 gives us 0. So negative 4, 0 is my third point. And I realized an error I made on the second one. This was supposed to be a negative 8 over here, meaning that I am subtracting 8 to get to 16. Let's fix that 8 real quick. Subtracting 8 to get to negative 16, which means I would subtract 8 again. So instead of negative 40, that should be negative 24 here. Sorry about that. But that's how you do a problem like this. We start with a midpoint being defined as each of those points, and just look to see, okay, is the unknown value the actual midpoint? Well, it's midpoint formula. Is the unknown value one of my endpoints? Okay, how do I get to the midpoint that I do know, and then just continue that practice again to get to the endpoint I don't know? And before we move on over to distance, one quick thing I want to show is how to do some of this on a calculator. So if we're dealing with the Desmos calculator specifically, if we're dealing with trying to find midpoint, in my calculator I can say h, because that's what it's called, is equal to, and then the coordinate that it is equal to. So negative 9, negative 8. And then I can say that g is equal to, and then its coordinate, so negative 11, comma, negative 8. And then I type in the word midpoint. And I want the midpoint of h, comma, g. And then I click on the label option so I can see it clearly on the graph, and there's my midpoint, negative 10, negative 8. So you need to know the process on how to do midpoint, because questions on tests and questions on EOCs will show the formula and say, did they enter this correctly? Where's the error? You need to know it. But a shortcut to doing midpoint is by being able to type it into the calculator as shown here, because this is allowed on the EOC for Tennessee.